Hi, everybody. So today we're going to continue our talk about readers question and make predictions. So before we start today, let's just go ahead and review what we've learned so far. Readers question and predict. And before we even start reading, we are kind of like a squirrel and we gather or preview as much information as we can. Like a squirrel kind of collects nuts before the winter. We want to gather as much information before we start reading. And then let's go ahead and sing our song to help us remember what to do. Remember, it's to the tune of row, row, row your boat. Read, read, read the text, question while you go. Predict what will happen next, read on so you'll know. So remember, the question part is the things that we wonder. So we wonder while we are reading. We're using that thinking voice to wonder who, what, where, when, how, and why. So we're thinking as we go. Then we make our predict. We predict what will happen next. And that's the same as like an inference and a guess. And we use all those details from the text to make our guess or our inference. And then finally, might be a little bit dark, but we read on so we'll know. That means that we make our prediction, we confirm it. Oh yeah, I was predicting what happened next. Or if we read on, we just make an adjustment. We make an adjustment and then we just keep reading. So, boys and girls, today we're going to go back to question while you go. So sometimes you wonder things, but then sometimes while you're reading, sometimes you might come to a word and you might feel confused. That's why I put that question mark there. Maybe you come to a new word that you don't understand the meaning of. Maybe you have to reread it because you're like, that didn't quite make sense. So sometimes we're confused while we read. And Mrs. Holman will admit sometimes if I'm reading something, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to go back and reread that because I'm feeling confused. Okay? So today what I have for you is a book, and I'll push this right back up to my face. Okay, here we go. Mrs. Holman is going to read a book, and we're going to practice this skill when we're feeling confused. So let me go ahead and pull up the book that I want to share with you. Okay, and let's go back. So, boys and girls, this book is called Who Lives Here? Polar Animals. So we're going to practice what to do when we are feeling confused. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. There's a lot of sections in this book. So after we're done with the lesson, maybe you can go find this book on Epic and practice some of the pages that we didn't do. We're not going to do the whole book today. The first thing I want to turn to is the Emperor Penguin. Okay, so I'm going to move my picture up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Emperor Penguin. The emperor penguin lives in chilly Antarctica. These penguins are taller than a kitchen table. A mother and father emperor penguin take turns looking after their baby. The chick sits on its parents' feet up off the icy ground. Waterproof feathers overlap tightly and cover the penguin like a thick winter coat. Emperor penguins huddle for warmth. So sometimes we come across a word that you're like, oh, I'm not sure what that word means. You might be feeling confused. So we're going to take that word huddle, boys and girls. And now I know some of you might know what that word huddle means, but what are some of those clues that help me figure it out if I don't know? Emperor penguins huddle for warmth. So when we don't understand, we can use the words or the pictures as clues to help us. So if I'm Emperor penguins huddle for warmth, that word huddle. I'm going to read on. Maybe that'll help me a little bit. They take turns in the middle where it is the warmest. And I notice all of these penguins are really, really close together. So I'm using my thinking voice to help me figure out what that word huddle means. So I think what it means is they kind of get together close in a group to keep warm. And those words, they huddle for warmth, that helps me. And also the picture helps me. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. A penguin uses its wings to swim. It speeds through the ocean hunting for fish. Zoom. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and skip to the snowy owl. The snowy owl is a fierce hunter. These owls perch on rocks and hills on the tundra to watch for their prey. So I'm wondering about this word tundra. So I'm going to use my picture clues, and I'm going to use the word clues to help me figure out, because I'm feeling confused about that word tundra. So if I'm looking down. Well, it said rocks and hills. So I know the tundra must be on land. And it's kind of it's a snowy owl. Let's see. And if I look down over here, I kind of see some snowy land. So I'm wondering if tundra is a type of land and it's really cold. All right, let's read to find out if Mrs. Holman might be right. Whoosh! With its big wings outstretched, a snowy owl swoops down on lemmings, birds, hares, and other small animals. Snowy owls use sharp claws called talons to catch lemmings and other prey. The owl's white feathers blend in with the snowy land and help it stay hidden. Dark feathers match the colors of the tundra and help young owlets hide from enemies. Oh gosh. So if we go back to that word tundra, there were some words way over here that helped me know what it was. Snowy land. Okay. So I use those word clues and picture clues to help me know what the word tundra means. So now, boys and girls, there's another word as I was reading. This word talons. Snowy owls use sharp claws called talons to catch lemmings and other prey. Well, I know that there are some word clues to help me and some picture clues. If I look at the picture, I can see these sharp claws, and it also says here, sharp claws called talons. So I have some really good word and picture clues to help me with that word talons that I was confused about. And one more word that is a new word that I'm like, is that word owlets. So let me read that part again, because sometimes when I'm confused, I have to go back to my reading. Dark feathers match the colors of the tundra and help young owlets hide from enemies. Oh, okay. So I know we're talking about a snowy owl, and this picture here shows me that they're young. So owlets must be young owls or baby owls. All right, great job. So let's do one together, and you're going to help me this time. I'm going to go to the next page, which is a musk ox. Okay, so let's see. Let's go ahead and read the text. The musk ox has long, shaggy fur to keep it warm. Musk oxen live on the tundra in big groups called herds. Okay. Well, herds, now some of us may have heard of this, but there are some really great picture clues and word clues that help us know what herds is. Do you know what that is? I'll read that sentence again. Musk oxen live on the tundra in big groups called herds. Ah, did you say big groups? Yeah, those are good word clues that help me figure out what that confusing word is. A baby muskox stays close to its mother to keep snug and warm until its long fur grows in. Soft, short fur under the long fur gives extra protection against the wind and cold. Male musk oxen butt heads and horns to decide who's the biggest and strongest. A musk ox uses its big front hoof like a shovel to dig up tasty plants buried underneath the snow. Okay, so we know probably a lot of us have heard about what that word hoof means, but this gives us, again, great picture clues to help us figure out if we didn't know that word. So I can look at that picture and I notice that it's like his front paw, like a hoof that can dig underground to find food. All right, let's try one more. The beluga whale. A beluga whale swims in the icy Arctic Ocean. Belugas eat fish and other creatures that live in the water. A beluga lives in a group called a pod. The whales in the pod talk to each other using sounds such as chirps, whistles, and squeals. Let's tune into that word pod. Now, there's a great word clue that this sentence gives you. I'll read it one more time. A beluga lives in a group called a pod. What word helps me know what pod means? Did you say this word? Group? And you know what this reminds me of? The last page, the muskox lived in herds, and so a pod is like a herd, but it's just a different word. All right. A beluga breathes through a hole on the top of its head. Belugas poke their heads out of the water to get air. Blubber, a thick layer of fat under the beluga's skin, works like a warm blanket to keep out the cold. Oh, okay. Well, let's tune into that interesting word blubber. So I might be confused about that word. But again, the book gives you some good clues. Let me read that again. Blubber, a thick layer of fat under the beluga's skin. What is blubber? Did you say a thick layer of fat? Yes, good job. As a baby beluga gets older, its gray skin will turn white like its parents. All right, boys and girls. So what I did was I took some words from a text that I was reading because some of those words sometimes might be confusing, or I was confused as I was reading. So I used picture clues and word clues to help me figure out new words that I might not know. So boys and girls, your assignment right now is to go find this story on Epic, and I want you to go back to some of the pages that we didn't do, and I want you to try to find word and picture clues to help you understand new words you might not know. All right, try to let me know how it goes. Maybe your parents can send me a dojo message or something like that. Let me know how your detective work went, because really it's about being a detective and looking for clues, word and picture clues to help us understand new words. All right, boys and girls, have a good day.